Assalamualaikum friends, hope so you are doing good. So in today's class, we will discuss the preprocessor directives. Like what is preprocessor directives and why it is used in C programs. So we can define as the preprocessor directives are instructions for the C compiler. Every C language programs contain the certain preprocessor directives at the beginning of the program. Before the translating the C language program into machine language, the compiler of C language carry out the preprocessor directives. Like in last topic we covered the header files, so we use the header files within these preprocessor directives. And these preprocessor directives always used in the beginning in the top of the programs, and it should be start from the hash symbol. For example, we having the preprocessor. We have two different preprocessor directory. One is the include and second is define. So here you can see, like if we want to use the preprocessor directive include, so how we can write it? We write it hash include and then the header files. In red you can see this is the standard format for using for preprocessor directive. So the question is that, like, what is the difference between the include preprocessor directives and define preprocessor directives? The include preprocessor directive is used for the library functions that already store in your compiler, that already store the functions are predefined. And define preprocessor directive is used for user defined functions. Let's suppose you want to define your own function and you want to use in a program. So for your own functions, we use the define preprocessor directives, and the functions that already defined like stdioh, conio.h, match.h, these all are the library functions, system defined functions that are already defined and stored in library. So for for those header files that are already defined and stored in library, we use the include preprocessor directives, and our own function defined functions we use the define preprocessor directives. And every program we should use the preprocessor directive in the top of the programs. So when the preprocessor is carried out by the C compiler, it will search for headers files that is written within the less than and greater than symbol and copy into the source files. Like you use the hash include less than symbol, then you use here your library files, your header files like stdh, conio.h or math.h. So and you close by this symbol. So less than, and you enclose your header files within less than and greater than symbol. So next one is the main function. So C program contain one of the more main functions. A function perform a single well-defined task. Every C program must have the functions main function, which is the first section to be executed when the program runs. The general form of main function is the void main void main functions. The word void before the function main mean that this function doesn't return the values, and the second void inside the braces mean it doesn't have any argument. Okay, so this is the main point where your body of the program start. Like in the first we use the preprocessor directives like hash include, and within preprocessor directive we use different header files that we use in our programs. Then these header files are preprocessor directives are the instruction for the compilers. After that we use the main function, the word main, and enclose in the braces like the void, like main void or void main void. These words used after this, so is indicate like the body of the program is started from this point. So that's why it is known as the main function, because within these functions the complete body of the programs are executed by using this main function. Okay, the next one, that is the constant and variable, that is a very important. So the word constant, maybe you're familiar about that, this something that didn't change. anything that didn't change, so we said it's a constant. Like it's a constant values, it's a standard values that you can't change, we said it's a constant. So similar in programming, uh, the values that didn't change, the quantities that didn't change during the execution of the program, so we said this is the constant values. They may be numeric constant, character constant, or string constant. So these are the three different types. So by name, the numeric constants, the numbers that didn't change its values during the execution of the program is called numeric constant. And numeric constant further two types. One is the integers and second is the floating. Integer means the whole number, the complete number like 10, 20, 30, 100, 1000. So these numbers are known as the integer numbers. So how you can define the integer constant, like the all positive, negative whole numbers that didn't change its values during the execution of the program is called integer constant. The second one is the floating constants. So floating values which contain the decimal points like 2.3, 5.6, 9.5. So these values are known as the floating values. So similar, all those floating values that didn't change its values during the execution of the program is called floating constants. So floating constants are used to represent the values that must be measured, like the height of the persons, which might be have the values 166.75 centimeter, the weight. So such quantities are used the floating points. So the next one is the character. So we cover here the numeric constant with the numbers that didn't change its values. It may be integer or it may be floating points. So both are considered as the numeric constant. Second one is the character constant. The character is one of the symbols of C character sets. It includes the digits 0 to 9, uppercase letters, lowercase letter, punctuation symbols, semicolons. So all character constant enclosed in single quotation. Like anything that's a number, it's a symbol, or it's a digit which enclosed in single quotation is known as the character constant. Like you can see here the example A and S, etc. So you, by this way, you can enclose the symbols, you can enclose the digits, you can enclose the letters, uppercase or lowercase A to Z. So these all are known as the constants. So similar, the string constants that should be enclosed in double quotation mark. Character constant enclosed in single quotation and the string constant include in double quotation mark. So next one, the variable. It's a very important concepts used in the programming. So first we define it, like what is the variable. So we said the quantities which change its values during the execution of the program is called variables. So where we use the variables in the programming language, so are in compiler. So the variables are used to store the values we use in our programs. Let's suppose we want to add two numbers, let's suppose 4 and 5. So we can't add directly 4 and 5, we have to store these two values in the variables, and then we can perform the function. Mostly you can see the example, we said A is equal to 5, B is equal to 6, and then we said sum is equal to A plus B. Like we already performed this task in chapter number 1. So here A, what is A, what is B, what is sum? So these are the variables. We said A is equal to 1, it means we assign the value 1 to A. We said B is equal to 5, so it means we assign the value 5 to B. Then we said sum is equal to A plus B, it means we perform the sum, we add the two numbers A and B, and then we store the result into the sum. So that is the sum is also a variable. So these values can be changed, the value of A, the value of B, the value of sum, that can be changed during the execution of the program. So that's why we said it's a variable. A variable has a name is known as the variable name, and it's hold the data and other types. A number or any other type of data held in a variable is called its values. It also indicates the type of the values variables can represent. There are two There are two different types of variable. One is the numeric variable and second one is the character variables. So the numeric variables, all those variables which are used to store values, which used to store numbers, either it's a floating or it's an integer. So that variable is known as the numeric variable. Like we repeat example once again, we said a is equal to 1, b is equal to 3. So here a and b both are numeric variables. How we can know numeric? These are the numeric variables because it stores the numbers. Okay, clear? For examples here, sum, average, length, salary, marks, these all are the numeric variables which are used to store the numbers. The second one is the character variable. Represent the character values in a computer program. It can represent a single character or a string of characters. Some example of character variables are the name, city, gender. Like you want to display your name, so to store your name you have to use the character variable. You want to represent the name of your city, so you use for city name you use the character variables. When the variable is used in a computer program, the computer associates it with the particular memory location. The value of the variables at anytime its value stored in the associated memory locations at that time. Variables are used so that the same space in memory can hold in different values at different times. So what is meant by the store into memory? So wherever you declare a variables, we use the variables to store the values. It means you store your values within in memory, in computer memory. You said a is equal to 1, so this 1 is stored into memory and it is represented by the variable name, that is a. Clear? So the next question, how we can declare the variable names, how we can declare the variables to store our values. So there are the simple rules or few specific rules that is used to define the variable name. So it's a very important question. So rules of specifying the variable name. So the first rule, the variable begin with the letter or an underscore and may consist of letter or underscore, not digit. Like the variable name should begin. The starting point of the variable name should be, it's a letter like A, B, C, or it should be underscore, not a digit. Like if you want to declare a variable 7b, so 7b is an invalid variable name because it starts with number. Yes, if you can say b7, so that is correct because it's begin from letter. The second rule is the underscore may be used to improve the readability of the variable name. For example, our time. So this is the one word. So marks of the student. So similar, there are so many other examples, like to include the space between two words or two characters, so you can use the underscore. The third rule is the minimum length of the variable name should be 31 characters. That is significant. If the length of the character is more than 31 characters, so only first 31 characters are displayed on the screen, the rest are hide. So you can try your variable name, the length of your variable name should be within 31 characters, not more than 31 characters. The fourth, like both uppercase and lowercase are allowed in the naming of variable. An uppercase letter considers different form and the lowercase is different. For example, the variable avg, this is a capital letter, is different from the avg because we said C is a case sensitive language. There is a difference between the uppercase and lowercase. So that's why you can use both upper and lowercase in a variable name. Special characters cannot be used as a variable name, as for example percentage, hash, $sign, or any other special symbols are not allowed as a variable name. The sixth one, the reserved words that we discussed in the beginning of the chapter, like the special word which have the special meaning. The words which have special meaning in C language is called reserved words. So those reserved words like in, case, if, else cannot be used as a variable name. And the last one, space is not allowed in the name of variable. For example, you want to write only the marks of student, so you can't use the space.
So instead of space, you can use the underscore, but the blank space is not allowed in a variable name. So you clear? So let me know if you have any question from today's topic. So today we cover the rules of naming the variables. We cover the what is the variable and what is the constant. We discuss the main function and preprocessor directive. So please let me know if you have any question from today's class.